nice. Take a look at this.
For anyone who has ever held a piece of history in their hands, the weight of an old rifle is more than steel and wood. It's a story, sometimes a painful one, sometimes heroic, often complex, but always alive. Collecting rifles is not simply an expensive hobby for firearm enthusiasts. It is the preservation of mechanical design, military evolution, and the legacy of entire nations. Long before modern polymer frames and modular platforms became the norm, these older rifles laid the foundations of what we know today. Their machining was done in eras when craftsmen worked with their hands, when factories echoed with the metallic ring of forged steel, and when nations relied on these rifles as lifelines of their survival. Among the rifles that collectors chase, a few stand out repeatedly. They appear at estate sales, auctions, military surplus stores, and sometimes buried deep in forgotten trunks in attics. Each carries distinct characteristics, unique manufacturing traditions, and stories of battles that shaped continents. The Springfield Model 1903, for example, is one of those rifles whose story intertwines with the early phases of American modernization. Designed with inspiration from the Mauser system, the Springfield 03 has a reputation for almost exaggerated accuracy. When handled, it feels like a rifle crafted with patience rather than speed. Machining lines crisp, stocks walnut dark, actions smooth from decades of oiling. During both World Wars, the Springfield earned a reputation for being dependable in harsh conditions, while also serving as a favorite among early American marksmen. Today, collectors search relentlessly for variants like the 1903A1 or the sniper-designated 1903A4, knowing that these rifles symbolize the transition from rugged 19th-century battle rifles into the precision age of the 20th century. On the other side of the Atlantic, the British Empire relied on the Lee-Enfield series, specifically the SMLE and later the No. 4 variants. While collectors often debate which Enfield is the best, the truth is that each carries its own legacy. The defining feature of the Lee-Enfield is its bolt, the fastest military bolt action ever fielded. The short bolt throw allowed British soldiers to fire rapid volleys, a technique famously demonstrated during training exercises, where riflemen could unleash an almost semi-automatic-like rate of fire. In the hands of disciplined troops, this rifle could hold the line against overwhelming numbers. Collectors today often seek rifles with regiment markings, unusual manufacturer stamps, or original wartime furniture. A No. 4 MK1T sniper variant, fitted with a period-correct scope, can fetch high prices and is treasured for its role in both World War II and later conflicts. Every scratch on an Enfield stock seems like it hides a chapter of the soldier who carried it. Then there is the Mosin Nagant, a rifle that for decades was dismissed as the cheap surplus gun. For a long time, crates of Mosins sat in warehouses around the world, selling for tiny amounts because they were plentiful. But as geopolitical tensions shifted, and as surplus supplies dried up, collectors started realizing something. Many Mosins had survived brutal winters, scorched earth retreats, and the harshest battles of the Eastern Front. Some rifles bear arsenal refurbish marks. Others still display the century-old stamps of Tsarist Russia. The most sought after are the PU sniper variants, made famous by snipers of the Second World War. When a collector finds a Mosin with a hex receiver, matching numbers, and an unforced history, they found something that only increases in value with time. These rifles are time capsules of a defeated empire, a revolution, and a relentless war machine that relied on rugged simplicity. Few rifles, however, command respect in the collecting world like the German Mauser K98K. The Mauser system influenced nearly every bolt-action rifle afterward. Its controlled round feeding, robust extractor, and overall reliability became the global standard. To handle a K98K is to experience mechanical precision that feels ahead of its era. Collectors seek markings that survived the war: small eagles, factory codes, proof stamps. Many rifles were captured, scrubbed, reissued, or rebuilt, making an all-matching K98 one of the most prized finds. A laminated stock, original sling, and untouched finish send collectors into bidding frenzies. Beyond its engineering, the K98K represents a turbulent part of history. A rifle held by soldiers in countless battles, from Eastern Front winters to North African deserts. Its legacy is as much political as it is mechanical. As warfare evolved and semi-automatic rifles replaced bolt actions, the M1 Garand emerged as an icon of American ingenuity. When General George Patton famously called it the greatest battle implement ever devised, he wasn't exaggerating. Compared to the bolt rifles of the time, the Garand offered a faster rate of fire, superior ergonomics, and an unmistakable ping when the en-bloc clip ejected. In the hands of American soldiers storming beaches, holding positions, or pushing through frozen valleys, the Garand became a symbol of perseverance and overwhelming firepower. Collectors treasure early World War II production models, rifles with original barrels, and those carrying the marks of specific armories. The Civilian Marksmanship Program has released many Garands into public hands, but as supply tightens, their value increases dramatically. Owning an M1 Garand is like owning a piece of American spirit: strong, reliable, and uncompromising. Parallel to military rifles, the world of sporting rifles produced its own masterpiece, the Winchester Model 70, often referred to as the rifleman's rifle. Before 1964, Winchester crafted the Model 70 with exceptional attention to detail, using controlled round feed actions beloved by hunters, marksmen, and collectors. The pre-64 Model 70 represents the height of American craftsmanship, with rifles chambered in calibers from .30-006 to .37.5H and H Magnum. As the Cold War intensified, new rifle designs reflected evolving military philosophy. The FNFAL became known as the right arm of the free world, adopted by over 90 countries. Its sleek profile, 7.62 by 51 chambering, and adjustable gas system made it one of the most advanced battle rifles of its time. Collectors today look for pre-ban FALs, especially those made on original Belgian FN receivers, which possess unmatched quality. Different nations produce their own versions, each with unique features: Canadian C1 models, British L1A1 pattern, rifles, Austrian St. G58s, and South African variants. Owning an FAL feels like holding a piece of Cold War tension, where global alliances were defined partly by the rifles nations carried. From Belgian craftsmanship to German engineering, the HKG-3 and its precursor, the CETME, introduced a revolutionary roller-delayed blowback system. This design eliminated the need for a traditional gas system and became a hallmark of Heckler & Koch's identity. The rifles are distinctive, solid, industrial, and reliable in nearly any condition. Collectors hunt for early set-me models, original G3s with matching parts, or rare configurations produced for specific militaries. The G3 platform would go on to influence many other firearms, and it remains a testament to Germany's engineering renaissance after the war. A shift toward futuristic design arrived with the Steyr AUG, an iconic bullpup rifle that looked like it belonged in a science fiction film when it was introduced. With its polymer frame, integrated optics, quick-change barrel system, and compact layout, the AUG challenged traditional rifle design. Military forces across the world adopted it, appreciating its modern ergonomics and adaptability. Collectors especially desire early pre-ban AUGA-1 models, featuring the signature scope ring optic and translucent magazines. For many, the AUG represents the moment when rifles stepped boldly into the future and embraced new materials and philosophies. But perhaps no rifle has influenced modern firearms culture more deeply than the original Colt AR-15 SP1. Long before the AR platform became the most common rifle in America, the SP1 introduced civilians to lightweight aluminum receivers, modular components, and an entirely different shooting experience. Collectors value early SP1s not just for nostalgia, but because they mark the birth of a platform that would eventually dominate sporting, competition, and defensive markets. The slender handguards, triangular front sight, and original furniture make the rifle visually distinct from modern AR variants. Pre-ban Colts, especially low serial number SP1s, are among the most sought-after collector rifles in the civilian market. Few rifles offer that kind of human connection. Beyond specific models, the culture around collecting itself is expanding. Younger collectors are entering the space with fresh perspectives and greater interest in the technical and mechanical aspects of rifles. They see these firearms not just as relics, but as analog masterpieces in a digital world. They admire the machining, the steel quality, the hand-fitting, and the craftsmanship that took place without CNC machines or computer modeling. Sometimes a rifle is simply too rare or too pristine. Other times, the goal is not shooting but studying, admiring, preserving. And for many, the ultimate reward is knowing that they are safeguarding artifacts that existed long before they were born and will hopefully remain long after they're gone. In the end, the rifles collectors hold on to are more than investments. They are the culmination of human ingenuity and struggle, symbols of courage and tragedy, and reminders of how far technology has come. Each rifle, whether battered and scarred or polished and pristine, represents a moment in history and an evolution in design. For those who understand this world, collecting isn't about quantity. Let me tell you something real quick. Most people online talk about reliable pistols like it's a fashion contest, but when you actually drag those guns through mud, sand, heat, and abuse, most of them tap out. This list isn't about what looks good in a thumbnail or what some fanboy swears by in the comments. These are the 13 pistols that got shoved straight through hell, dropped, buried, run filthy, starved of oil, limp-wristed, and hammered with thousands of rounds, and still refuse to quit. By the time you hear number 1, you're going to have a completely different idea of what reliable really means. Before getting into the guns, here's the deal. Marketing claims don't matter under pressure. You can have the prettiest trigger, coolest slide cuts, and the nicest Cerakote in the state. But if the pistol chokes when it's hot, dirty, or handled badly, it's just an expensive paperweight. What matters is what survives the gauntlet. Mud baths, dust storms, cold nights in the truck, range days where nobody bothers to clean or lube anything, and real-world carry conditions where guns get sweat on, dropped, and forgotten. Every pistol on this list didn't perform well in that environment. It made it out with 0 failures. Not one stovepipe, not one light strike, not one tap-rack bang moment. Let's start with one of the most predictable names that still somehow keeps earning its spot, the Glock 19 Gen 5. You've heard the hype 1,000 times, but strip the fanboy noise away, and what you have is a compact workhorse that just doesn't know how to stop. Think of it like your granddad's old wrench, the ugly one with the tape on the handle that still beats every fancy tool set off Amazon. This thing has been thrown in glove boxes for years, dropped out of trucks, buried in ranch dirt, and pulled out after being ignored for seasons at a time. And it still goes bang every single time you pull the trigger. Cops carry it, military units trust it, and internet torture test channels have tried everything short of running it over with a train to make it fail. It's not pretty, it's not exotic, but when things go sideways and you can only grab one pistol, this is that no questions asked pick. Right behind it is the full-metal bruiser that laughs at polymer trends, the CZ75S P01 Tactical. If the Glock 19 is the beat-up wrench, the SP01 is the sledgehammer with a graduate degree. It's heavy, unapologetically steel, and it doesn't care about your lightweight carry obsession. But once you start shooting it, the weight turns into a cheat code. The slide runs like it's on polished rails, the recoil feels more like a firm handshake than a slap, and shot after shot stays where you put it. This gun has seen muddy ranges, cold mornings, sweaty summer matches, and rough handling that would make a safe queen cry. And it still cycles like a sewing machine stitched out of concrete. This isn't a gun, you baby. It's a gun you drag through your worst days and expect to work anyway. Then there's the SIG P226 Legion, the pistol that proves duty grade can still feel refined. This gun has been run in brutal conditions, thousands upon thousands of rounds through sandy, dusty, scorching days, and it just chews brass like someone owes it money. You can shoot it until your hands are tired, the slide is hot enough to fry breakfast on, and the mags are coated in grime, and the Legion keeps feeding like it's on a mission not to embarrass you. The trigger break is crisp, the reset is short, and the overall feel screams grown-up sidearm. When people talk about a pistol that gives them confidence in the worst scenarios, this one shows up again and again, not because it's trendy, but because it has proven it will not quit. On the quiet professional side of the list, you have pistols like the HKV P9 Tactical. This is the gun that guys who've seen real chaos keep around, not because it's flashy, but because they never have to second-guess it. It rides under truck seats, gets dropped in the dirt, gets rained on, and still delivers the same clean, deliberate cycle every time the trigger is pulled. The reset snaps back faster than your finger is ready, the controls are intuitive, and it just shrugs off neglect. It's the pistol equivalent of that one coworker who never calls in sick, never complains, and always gets the job done. Other guns demand your attention. This one just wants to be there when everything else breaks. Now swing over to the Smith & Wesson M&PM 2.0 Compact Metal. This pistol does not care about being photogenic. You can drag it across an unpaved road, drop it out of a bed of a pickup, spill coffee on it, and shove it back into a holster with dust still clinging to it. And it will treat you like nothing happened. The grip texture is borderline rude, designed for hands that are wet, sweaty, or numb, not for posing on social media. The trigger is improved, tight, and honest. It's a gun built for those times you're on a dirt road at night and hear something moving in the brush. It's not here for aesthetics. It's here for the part of your life where nice to have becomes need this to work right now. The Walther PDP full size makes the list because it simply doesn't care what your ammo budget looks like. Cheap steel, brass, reloads from that one sketchy friend. It just keeps cycling. Starve it of oil, forget to clean it for multiple range sessions, drop it in sand, pull it back out, and it still runs like it's trying to earn a competition trophy. The grip digs in just enough to lock you in. The trigger break feels like it belongs on something far more expensive. And recoil is so manageable it almost feels disrespectful. If you want a pistol that flat out refuses to be picky or fragile, this is the one you use to embarrass every other premium gun that chokes on budget ammo. Then there's the FN509 Compact MRD, a pistol that comes from a lineage of surviving military trials. Most guns would fail in the first week. This gun has been dropped in fine sand, soaked in mud, stuffed under waistbands in brutal heat, and forgotten on tailgates during storms. Yet when you pick it up and press the trigger, it answers. The optic-ready slide, rugged build, and no-nonsense controls aren't about looking cool. They're about keeping the gun as close to bomb-proof as a 9mm can reasonably get. This pistol isn't an accessory. It's a tool for people who don't have time to worry whether their gun is in the mood to work today. When the list gets to pistols like the Springfield XDM Elite Tactical OSP, things start to feel almost unfair. This gun has eaten through obscene amounts of ammo in one sitting, mag after mag after mag, without a single stoppage. Online, some people call it bulky or overkill. At the range, it just keeps punching holes exactly where it's pointed. Slide wear, frame scratches, carbon buildup, it treats all of that like cosmetic inconvenience. The longer you run it, the more it feels like it was built not just to last, but to be actively abused. It's not here to impress influencers, it's here to show up every single time you need it. And you can't ignore the budget surprise category. Guns like the Canik TP9 series style pistols, or Turkish-built tanks that people bought just to see and ended up falling in love with. These are the guns that came in with low expectations and left with legendary reputations. Thrown into sandy ranges, baked in summer heat with no lube, run well over 1,000 rounds in a session. They just kept running. Shooters kept them dirty on purpose, waiting for their first hiccup, and walked away disappointed only because the failure never came. No pedigree, no big brand aura, just raw performance that embarrasses more expensive options. You also get the old workhorses on this list, like the Ruger SR9, guns that manufacturers quietly discontinued while owners quietly refused to let go. These pistols have lived under truck seats, in dusty duffel bags, and inside damp barns. They've been pulled out half-rusted, scraped off, racked once, and emptied into steel targets with not a single cough. Folks keep them around not because they're pretty or trending, but because those guns have already proven they'll still work after years of neglect. It's the definition of a trust gun. Not fancy, not modern, but always ready. Throw in the Beretta M9, and the story gets even more old school. This is the pistol that survived war zones before it survived toolboxes and glove compartments. There are M9s out there that have seen sandstorms, jungle humidity, and catastrophic weather, then came home to ride around in civilian trucks, and still function when dragged out years later. It's not a lightweight carry, darling, and definitely not the hot new release. But if you want a history of surviving brutal environments and bad habits, this thing has a resume no influencer gun can match. Then you've got the Walther PPQM2, a sleeper that never quite reached meme status but quietly outshot and outlasted a lot of more famous pistols. High round counts, minimal part swaps, negligent cleaning, and still zero failures. Its internals and trigger feel like something designed by engineers who cared more about feel and reliability than about chasing whatever trend was buzzing that year. In a world obsessed with new models, this one just kept showing up to the range and doing its job without complaint. On the polymer legend side again, the Glock 17 Gen 5 makes its appearance as the big brother that simply refuses to die. This is the gun that has been frozen, baked, dragged, dropped, and jammed full of pocket lint and debris, and yet keeps unloading full mags like nothing happened. Law enforcement, security, and serious shooters use it because it behaves the same on day 1, day 1000, and after every stupid thing some YouTuber tries to do to break it. If you want full-size predictability under chaos, this is it. Of course, the list has to end with something different. The Smith & Wesson 686 Plus. Yes, a revolver in a sea of semi-autos. But this one earns its place. In a world where feeds can jam, mags can fail, and springs can get tired, the 686 Plus just keeps cycling as long as your finger works and you've got rounds in the cylinder. Decades of use, miserable weather, hard carry, and you still get that same solid lockup and bark every time you roll the trigger. It's heavy, it's old school, but if your only requirement is, "This must fire when I need it," there are not many things more reassuring than a battle-tested .357 that refuses to go out of style. Put all of these together, and a pattern appears. Reliable pistols don't care about your opinions. They don't care about brand wars in the comments section, or which one has the fanciest trigger shoe. The guns that passed every test share the same traits. They run dirty, they run hot, they run abused, and they do it again tomorrow. They're built with tolerances, materials, and design choices that favor function over everything else. Some are polymer workhorses, some are steel tanks, and one is a revolver throwing it back to an era before slide serration debates. But they all share the same result when it matters: 0 failures. And here's the real takeaway. The difference between owning a pistol and trusting a pistol with your life is what happens under pressure. Anybody can look good on a clean range with fresh ammo and perfect lighting. The guns on this list earned their place when the conditions were terrible, the maintenance was lazy, and the stakes felt real. So if you're building a carry setup, a home defense lineup, or just want one gun you know will still be working when everything else has broken, don't get hypnotized by popularity. Look for the pistols that have already proven themselves in the dirt, the heat, the cold, and the chaos. If you made it this far, you're clearly serious about what you put in your holster or beside your bed. So, when people look for reliable concealed carry firearms, lightweight revolvers remain one of the most trusted options because they are simple, durable, and extremely easy to operate under stress. Modern manufacturing has made ultralight materials like scandium, titanium, and aerospace-grade aluminum strong enough to handle powerful defensive calibers without adding unnecessary weight. And that's why today's lightweight revolvers continue to be favored by both beginners and experienced carriers. Among the most respected options is the Smith & Wesson Airweight series, especially the Model 642 and 442. These revolvers weigh around 14.5 ounces, use a snag-free enclosed hammer design, and are chambered in 38 special +P, making them manageable to shoot, while still providing adequate stopping power. Their compact profile allows them to disappear easily in a pocket holster, ankle holster, or small IWB setup. The long-standing reputation of reliability and the ease of use under pressure make these revolvers a top choice. For those seeking even lighter performance, the Smith & Wesson Airlight series is worth considering. Models like the 340 PD weigh under 12 ounces but can chamber .357 Magnum, a level of power very few ultralight guns can support. The titanium cylinder and scandium alloy frame allow incredible strength while stripping away nearly all extra mass. Although firing .357 Magnum in such a light frame produces sharp recoil, many carriers load .38 +P for regular use and keep the Magnum capability as an option. This flexibility, combined with extreme portability, is the hallmark of the Airlight line. Ruger also has excellent lightweight options, most notably the Ruger LCR series. The LCR became popular because of its innovative polymer and aluminum frame, which absorbs recoil better than traditional metal frame revolvers. The trigger system on the LCR is widely considered one of the smoothest double-action pulls available out of the box, making accurate rapid fire much easier. The LCR comes in multiple calibers: 22 LR for training, 22 Magnum for low recoil carry, 38 Special +P, and even .357 Magnum. The 38 plus P version weighs about 13.5 ounces, while the 35-7 Magnum variant is slightly heavier but provides strong defensive capability. Many concealed carriers choose the LCR because of its combination of recoil control, low weight, and affordability. A step up in durability and shootability is the Ruger SP-101, which, while heavier than ultralight models, still counts as lightweight compared to traditional revolvers. It provides a more controllable shooting experience thanks to its stainless steel construction and solid lockup. While not as pocket-friendly as the LCR or Airweight line, the SP-101 remains a top choice for those prioritizing ruggedness without carrying a bulky firearm. It is especially favored by people who want a revolver that can still comfortably handle Magnum loads, but doesn't feel like a brick. For those who want something different, the Kimber K6S has become one of the most impressive modern lightweight defensive revolvers. With a 6-shot capacity, more than the typical 5-shot snub nose, it offers extra firepower without compromising concealment. The all-steel construction adds stability during firing, yet the revolver remains compact enough for daily carry. Kimber's refined trigger system and smooth machining give the K6S a premium feel, making it attractive to carriers who want top-tier ergonomics and performance. Despite being slightly heavier than polymer or alloy revolvers, the shootability and precision make it a popular choice among enthusiasts. Another option worth mentioning is the Taurus 856 Ultra Light. This 6-shot .38 special revolver provides an affordable lightweight carry alternative. It weighs around 16 ounces, uses an aluminum frame, and is known for reliability despite its budget-friendly price point. Many carriers appreciate having 6 rounds instead of 5, and the revolver's simple design makes it easy to maintain. While Taurus revolvers may not have the same longevity record as premium brands, newer models, especially the ultralight series, have significantly improved build quality and consistency. Ultimately, the best lightweight revolver depends on your priorities. If portability is the top concern, the Smith & Wesson Airlight models are unmatched. For comfort and shootability, the Ruger LCR offers one of the most user-friendly designs. If durability and long-term use matter most, the SP-101 or Kimber K6S may be the better choice. And for budget-conscious carriers, the Taurus Ultralight series delivers solid performance with lower cost. Regardless of which model you choose, the appeal of lightweight revolvers remains the same. Simplicity, reliability, and the confidence of a point-and-shoot tool that functions in any condition. Lightweight arms designed for concealed carry have become increasingly refined over the past decade, blending compact frames, advanced alloys, and recoil-mitigating engineering to create options that are far easier to live with than the heavy steel handguns of earlier generations. Many companies have pushed the boundaries on weight reduction, experimenting with scandium, aluminum, and polymer components while still maintaining durability that can withstand daily carry. What sets these lightweight revolvers apart isn't just the grams they shed, it's how they preserve reliability and user confidence despite that smaller footprint. For individuals who prioritize discreet carry, minimal printing, and a firearm that won't drag on a belt or pocket during an entire day of movement, these models stand out because they make concealment feel effortless. One thing that continues to define this category is the balance between weight and controllability. Revolvers that drop below a certain threshold in mass tend to produce sharper recoil impulses, especially with defensive loads, but modern designs deliberately address that. Some frames incorporate special alloys that stiffen under pressure, reducing flex and improving shot stability. Others use carefully engineered grip geometry to help the shooter maintain leverage without needing a bulky handle that defeats the purpose of a compact firearm. That balance between portability and shootability is part of what makes certain lightweight revolvers consistently respected among experienced carriers. A major reason lightweight revolvers remain popular in 2025 is their sheer mechanical simplicity. Even though semi-automatic pistols have become wildly reliable, the appeal of a revolver that has no magazines, no slide manipulation, and almost no chance of jamming under normal conditions is undeniable. For many carriers who just want something small, predictable, and easy to draw from a pocket or holster, a revolver's consistent trigger pull and straightforward operation provide reassurance. In stressful situations where adrenaline makes fine motor skills unpredictable, people appreciate a tool that doesn't require multiple steps or technical familiarity. This simplicity, paired with a weight that often sits under 15 ounces, explains why these models continue to have a devoted following. Lightweight arms also benefit from the fact that revolvers can chamber powerful defensive cartridges without requiring the kind of bulk that a semi-auto would need to handle equivalent pressures. Even compact models can accommodate well-known calibers that create effective stopping capability despite the gun's smaller dimensions. Manufacturers have spent years tuning their cylinders, barrels, and frames so that even with minimal weight, the firearm doesn't feel unmanageable. There has been a noticeable rise in models that feature short barrels paired with improved metallurgy, allowing them to safely handle a wider range of ammunition options without compromising structural integrity. Technology has also influenced how lightweight revolvers evolve. Advances in CNC machining allow companies to produce precisely fitted components that enhance accuracy despite short sight radii. Some revolvers incorporate subtle improvements like improved rifling, frame-mounted firing mechanisms, and enhanced lockup systems that tighten barrel-to-cylinder alignment. These kinds of changes may not be immediately noticeable to casual observers, but they contribute to a smoother, more predictable experience when firing. The result is a category of firearms that feels refined instead of compromised, even with the emphasis on reduced weight. Another appealing aspect of lightweight revolvers is their longevity. Because they do not rely on magazines or springs that weaken over time, they can sit loaded for long periods without suffering functional degradation. Many carriers appreciate that these guns can be stored for emergency use with minimal maintenance beyond normal cleaning and inspection, and they will still perform exactly as expected. The simple internal mechanism reduces the number of potential failure points, and modern engineering ensures that even daily use does not quickly wear down the frame or moving parts. Lightweight arms also make sense for individuals who choose to carry as a backup weapon. Whether for professional use or personal preference, many find that a small revolver can be tucked into secondary carry locations where a larger handgun would be impractical. Its simplicity means that in the rare event a primary firearm becomes inaccessible or malfunctions, this backup option can immediately be put into service with little thought or manipulation. The peace of mind that comes from knowing a compact, lightweight tool is always accessible is one of the biggest reasons these revolvers maintain relevance in a world dominated by semi-automatic pistols. There's also an economic aspect to consider. Lightweight revolvers tend to be mechanically robust and do not require many aftermarket accessories, which keeps long-term costs down. Holsters, grips, and basic cleaning supplies are usually all a person needs. Because the design hasn't dramatically changed in decades, owners often find it easy to source parts or support if needed, even for older models. This timelessness adds to their value and helps explain why many people keep such a firearm for years or even decades without feeling the need to upgrade. In the end, the enduring appeal of lightweight revolvers comes from a combination of portability, reliability, comfort, and long-term practicality. Their small size makes them easy to integrate into everyday routines, while modern manufacturing ensures that the U.S. military just made a move that's shaking up the entire world of small arms, a major shift. After decades of relying on the trusted 5.56 and 7.62 NATO rounds, there's a new king in town. Not a modification, not a niche specialty cartridge, but an all-out replacement. The old debate about smaller bullets for more ammo versus bigger rounds for more stopping power? That debate just got sidelined completely. The brass didn't pick a side. They rewrote the rules. This isn't just a caliber swap. It's a massive recalibration of how the American infantry engages threats on the battlefield. The era of spraying and praying is winding down. It's now about precision, range, and sheer stopping power. That new era starts with one cartridge, the 6.8 by 51 mm. Also known in the civilian world as the .277 SIG Fury. This round is no compromise. It's not a slightly hotter 5.56, and it's not just a trimmed-down 7.62. It's an entirely new breed. It's throwing a 140-grain bullet at roughly 3,000 feet per second. That's nearly double the muzzle energy of a standard 5.56 round. And the kicker? It's doing all that while operating at a blistering 80,000 psi chamber pressure. That's not a typo. Most military rifle rounds operate around 60,000. This is punching into a whole new class. To handle that extreme pressure, the cartridge uses a hybrid case, steel base and brass body. That's not just a gimmick. The steel base prevents the case from rupturing under intense pressure, while the brass body still allows for reliable extraction. Without that engineering, the round wouldn't just be powerful, it would be dangerous. But with it, it's controlled aggression in a chamber. And this isn't power for power's sake. This cartridge was designed to meet one very real, very modern threat: adversaries equipped with serious armor. Level 3 and 4 plates are becoming common, and the old 5.56 just isn't up to the task. Reports from the field have shown it over and over. Multiple hits to center mass on an armored target, and the enemy keeps fighting. That's not a problem with soldier skill. That's physics. The round just doesn't have enough juice. The 6.8 by 51 changes that dynamic entirely. It brings energy, velocity, and penetration to the fight, out to 600 meters and beyond. At 1,000 yards, it's still hitting harder than 5.56 does at 5. That's game-changing. Infantry squads no longer have to rely on volume to achieve terminal results. Now, 1 or 2 hits can end a fight. That alone transforms combat doctrine. It shifts the entire focus from how fast you can lay down fire to how accurately you can deliver it. When a single round has that kind of authority, tactics evolve. Fire teams can engage from greater distances without losing lethality. Cover and concealment suddenly work in their favor, not just the enemy's. Suppression becomes smarter, more efficient. Squads can maneuver knowing they have real punch behind each shot, even at extended ranges. That kind of assurance boosts morale and shifts the psychology of the fight. Targets that used to require coordinated volleys can now be neutralized with precision. And with better hit probability, troops spend less time exposed. It's not just a step up in firepower, it's a step up in survivability. There's a newfound confidence when soldiers know they're carrying rounds that don't just poke holes, but stop threats cold. And that changes how they think under pressure. They're not reacting, they're deciding. It's no longer about overwhelming with numbers. It's about asserting control with fewer, more deliberate actions. When the fight begins, having that kind of edge means everything. And from the brass down to the boots, that advantage is being felt across the board. And yeah, the recoil is more than the 5.56, but it's still manageable. It's not a shoulder destroyer like a full 7.62 battle rifle. It's sitting right in the sweet spot. More kick, but not too much for trained shooters to control. That's crucial when you're firing from unstable positions, under stress, on the move. What really sets this round apart, though, is how it stacks up against its predecessors. Take the 5.56 NATO. Light, fast, minimal recoil. That round was built for jungle warfare, close quarters, and high ammo counts. Great in its time. But times have changed. Threats have changed. And most importantly, armor has changed. The 5.56 starts dropping hard after about 300 meters. It's fast, but it loses steam quickly. Then there's the 7.62 NATO. Powerful, yes. Carries weight and recoil to match. It's got punch out to 800 meters, sure, but it's heavy. Each round weighs about 25 grams, and you can't carry as many. The recoil's in the neighborhood of 17 foot-pounds, which starts to matter in full auto or rapid-fire situations. That kind of recoil adds up fast, especially when you're in dynamic movement or firing from unsupported positions. Over time, it wears on the shooter. Slower follow-up shots, reduced accuracy, and increased fatigue. Plus, the weight adds another layer. Every extra ounce matters when you're hauling gear through rough terrain. And when you're limited in how many rounds you can carry, every trigger pull becomes a bigger decision. The platform itself also tends to be bulkier, making transitions between targets slower and less fluid. In close quarters, that matters. In mountainous regions, that matters. Even for seasoned troops, the 7.62's punch comes at a physical cost. And on top of that, maintaining tight shot groups becomes harder under sustained fire. It's not just about the first shot, it's about the third, the fifth, the 10th. Heat builds up. Muzzle climb becomes more of a factor. And when you factor in the realities of combat, adrenaline, movement, stress, the heavier platform becomes less forgiving. It's still a workhorse, no doubt, but it's a workhorse built for a different kind of war. In today's fights, agility matters just as much as power. And that's where the 7.62 starts to feel its age. It's got muscle, but it lacks finesse. The battlefield has evolved, and now so has the tech. That's why the next step wasn't just about matching the 7.62, it was about outclassing it entirely. Now here's the kicker. The 6.8 by 51 matches 7.62 for weight and recoil, even slightly edging it out in muzzle energy, but delivers way more performance downrange. Soldiers will be carrying fewer rounds, sure, but they'll need fewer to win the fight. It's not about throwing 30 rounds anymore, it's about landing 5 that count. That change in philosophy is at the heart of this shift. It's no longer about overwhelming with lead, it's about surgical hits from farther out, and it doesn't stop at the bullet. The rifle platform is brand new too. Meet the M7 rifle, set to replace the M4A1 for frontline troops. It uses a short-stroke gas piston system, which is a big departure from the classic direct impingement setup on the AR. And there's a good reason for that. These rounds run hot and hard. You need a platform that can take the punishment. On top of that, it comes factory-equipped with an integrated suppressor. That means less muzzle flash, less sound signature, and way better communication for squads under fire. Ergonomically, it still feels familiar to anyone trained on AR-style rifles, so the learning curve isn't steep. But the performance? A whole different animal. Then there's the M250, the new belt-fed machine gun that's replacing the M249. It's lighter, has built-in recoil mitigation systems, and sends those 6.8 by 51 mm rounds downrange with authority. Out past 600 meters, this thing still defeats body armor. That turns the squad automatic weapon from just a suppressive tool into a real precision support weapon. And It's not just about hardware. Training is changing too. Live fire ranges at Army posts are being extended out to 1,500, even 1,800 meters in some places. Soldiers are being trained for longer distance engagements with more accurate fire. That means new shooting disciplines, less reliance on mag dumps at close range, and way more focus on deliberate, effective hits. They're also being trained on the XM157 fire control optic. That's not just a fancy name for a scope. This thing is a ballistic computer. It calculates range, drop, wind, and environmentals in real time. It's like having a sniper's spotter and a weather station in your optic. Paired with the 6.8 by 51, it gives soldiers an insane increase in hit probability, even under stress. It's no longer point and shoot. It's operate and execute. The shooter is now a systems operator, managing a full data-driven combat platform. And yes, there's less ammo in each loadout. Soldiers aren't carrying hundreds of rounds like before. But each round counts more. And when they see what this thing does to a steel plate at 700 meters, the confidence level spikes. That kind of psychological edge, the knowledge that your rifle will reach farther and hit harder than the enemy's, that matters in a firefight. That wins fights before they even start. Of course, whenever the military changes caliber, the civilian world pays attention. The .277 Sig Fury is the commercial twin of the 6.8 by 51, and it's already available. And make no mistake, it's a monster. High ballistic coefficient bullets, flat trajectories, and devastating energy at long range. Hunters and precision shooters are already eyeing it for big game at long distances. Elk, moose, hogs. This cartridge takes them down clean, even when other rounds start to fall short. But this performance doesn't come cheap. That hybrid steel and brass case is complex to manufacture. It's not as simple as turning out traditional brass. And because of that, prices are high for now. Rifle platforms are limited too. A few bolt guns, some of SIG's cross-series rifles, and that's about it, at least for now. Reloading is technically possible, but tricky. That steel head changes the game, and handloaders are still figuring out the best way to get consistent results. It's not beginner-level gear. But for those who get it dialed in, it's a whole new playing field. And don't let the myths cloud the reality. This is not a weak round because it's a smaller caliber. It outperforms 7.62 in energy, velocity, and armor penetration. It's not old tech dressed up in new clothes. It's not recycled from World War II. It's cutting-edge hybrid case science running at insane pressures. And no, it's not a solution in search of a problem. Ask any soldier who's had to dump a mag of 5.56 into a plated target to little effect. This round fills a real and pressing need. Weight? Sure, it's heavier per round. But again, you need fewer. And this isn't about long, dragged-out exchanges anymore. This is about quick, decisive action. Delivering impact where it counts. Less ammo, more effect. The big picture? This isn't just a new bullet. It's the first domino in what could be a total rethinking of how military small arms work. Other branches of the U.S. military are watching closely. If this performs the way early results suggest, wider adoption is almost guaranteed. The only big challenge ahead is NATO standardization. For decades, the alliance ran on 5.56 for one reason: logistics. Everybody used the same mags, the same ammo, the same resupply chain. That's now out the window. The 6.8 by 51 doesn't just require different weapons. It demands new manufacturing processes. If it catches on, other NATO countries will either have to make their own hybrid ammo or go another direction entirely. And that opens up a whole new frontier. If this hybrid case tech scales up and proves durable, it could breathe new life into classic calibers. Imagine a .308 or .243 built for 80,000 psi, with better velocity, flatter trajectory, and more downrange impact. That's the direction things are headed. So the story here isn't just about replacing 2 legacy rounds. It's about what comes next, about how small arms are entering a new era where performance isn't just good. It's optimized, data-backed, designed for the threats of tomorrow, not the ones from 50 years ago. This new caliber is changing everything, from the cartridge to the optic, the rifle to the range, the mission to the mindset. Precision is in, power is in, and the days of relying on outdated ballistics, they're numbered. The real question now isn't whether this is the future. It's how fast the rest of the world catches up. Thanks for sticking through this deep dive. If this breakdown helped shed some light on what's really changing behind the scenes, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more real-world weapon system analysis and tactical insight. There's more coming, and you won't want to miss it. Stay sharp, stay trained, and stay ahead of the curve.